Now, that being said, Bree also absolutely astonishing amount of preparation going into this tournament. Like, I've literally seen her live non-stop. And I mean, we don't have to talk about Gino. Known as one of the best mechanical players in the world when it comes to the game. So stacked match. The board is online now. Let's see what we got. We got Omen Killer. That's a pretty early game square. Right in the center. Could be looking towards a raise there. We also have the Limgrave Tree Sentinel. I was looking forward to this.
We have a lot of early game stuff here, actually. Omen Killer, Grafted Scion, which is honestly Star Zero Chris's bread and butter. Like, he always gets that square. He's really good at that square. Everybody else, I feel like, has been lacking a little bit in Grafted Scion practice this season around because it's not the biggest deal to get that square. However, it does build you some momentum on other things. Your 3 Nice Cav is very quick. As you said, Tree Sentinel, that is very quick. Leonimus Bagat is going to be pretty quick with the new Grace now and Weeping. Falling Star Beast is really quick. Millicent's really quick. Red Wolf Boss. Ooh. This is all early game stuff here that they can just move back to back. And we have that Hero's Grave Red Wolf combo yet again on this board as well. True. So that is something that, honestly, if teams really see that, they should focus on possibly row 3, to be honest. That's a really, really fast row. You got Millicent, Omen Killer, Red Wolf with Hero's Grave and Ancestor, which you could just do straight from Shifa River. Row 3 is looking insane.
I almost feel like there's no way. I mean, okay, yeah, that's probably a solid game plan. Forgo the Tree Sentinel. One person goes for Omen Killer, the other person goes for Millicent. I definitely like that idea in general. I also see the starting classes does have a Claymore online here, which is definitely one of the best smithing weapons you can ask for. Extremely powerful Ash of War. By default, Lion's Claw can absolutely blast through bosses. This is interesting. I wonder if we'll even see the Tree Sentinel thing here, because I think that's one of the strongest plays you just mentioned. Go for Omen Killer and Millicent. And then the other squares are not as easy to rush, but if you can get that, you can get such a fast bingo.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what these teams decide to rush for or what they decide to prioritize in this case. But there is a lot going on here. And I'm also seeing here, to be honest, a lot of Radahn synergy as well.
True.
There is Remembrance Boss Hitless. There is Radahn's Great Rune Restoration. There's Radahn without summons. There is Loretta.
There's Loretta, Fingerslayer Blade, Radahn Rune. That's another super powerful line.
Yeah. And there's Grave and Ghost Glove Ward Bell Bearings right on top of that, which you also need Radahn for.
Wow.
There is a lot of big synergies going on here. So it really depends on what these teams pick and where they decide to, diversify their portfolio, pretty much, if you want to say so.
Yeah, there's also Red Wolf into Renala compared to the Red Wolf Altus Plateau line, which is probably slightly... I don't know. I think that Red Wolf is probably slightly faster, right? Because the Hero's Grave is quite long to get to and it actually reach as well. So that's maybe something that can be taken away in the pursuit of Renala.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not too sure. We're going to be moving into the match here, though, in about 5 seconds. It is counting down 3, 2, 1, and here it is, last match of the day. Bingo Brawlers Season 3, Day 3, Match 3. Here we go. Let's see how it goes.
Very interesting to see what these players go for early. I do think that Radahn play is massive. The more I look at it, there's a Remembrance Boss Hitless, Radahn, no NPCs, Radahn Great Rune, Loretta, Fingerslayer Blade. Like, that line gets you 7 squares going for that Radahn play early. And Loretta.
Yeah.
Amazing fashion coming in from that Claymore class, by the way.
Yeah, no, I agree. Very, very nice fashion. I'm not going to lie. I am low-key rooting for positive vibes here, as they are seen as the underdogs. I would like to see them bring a dub home and have something on the board. And honestly, if they get a dub versus BrinoMachino, that's even more glory for them.
Scholar's Armament. Chris going for Scholar's Armaments here. They're both going for Grafted Scion race. So Gino and Chris on the race. Let's see if that Scholar's Armament will actually end up paying off. Gino getting big damage off right away. Both of the riposte here. This is going to be very interesting right off the bat.
Yeah, looks like that Gino is definitely ahead currently. I think that Scholar's Armament might have actually cost Chris too much time. He's going to be losing out on this riposte. Here's the riposte on Grafted Scion. One more hit is needed. And there it is, the nice little R1 from Gino. And he's going to go ahead and snag that first square for BrinoMachino now.
Wow, and now obviously the snowball potential is quite massive because he obviously has the advantage on Tree Sentinel right now. The question is if it's ever worth it for Adafir to potentially try that because he knows, or maybe actually Bree as well. I mean, I don't know. I think Bree can't wield these claws right now. Once again, I'm not sure if that X, I haven't specifically studied the stat line. She was the one that picked a different starting class, but just based off her movement here, heading a little bit more to the right, I believe she is going to forego that.
Yeah, it looks like that Adif is also just bypassing Tree Sentinel now, not going to go for that Tree Sentinel square. Maybe this is another race, though, between Gino and Chris, who's going to go for the Tree Sentinel now.
Yeah, this is immediately starting off extremely explosive. This could lead into a pretty big snowball if Gino gets that square as well. I think at that point, they might want to immediately pivot towards that Radahn line, if they were able to see that. Maybe, honestly, even at this point, maybe Chris can even think about the fact that, yeah, okay, I'm not ahead. I'm going to lose this Tree Sentinel square. Let me just rush to Torrent and then work on something else.
Yeah, this is where I think team decision-making is going to be really, really important. And it looks like, yeah, Gino's going straight for that Tree Sentinel. I think he's already predicting, okay, I beat Chris to Grafted Scion. I can beat Chris to this as well. Goes for the Scholar's Armament on Tree Sentinel. Chris skipping first step Grace and going straight to the Tree Sentinel as well. This is another Tree Sentinel race.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a gamble because he definitely knows he is in the disadvantage here. But I guess this is kind of okay. He's kind of walking to the right now. I think he might not go for it. Oh, his movement seems like he's unsure about it. Maybe he's kind of testing out the waters here.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think he was trying to see if he could just get some extra poise while the boss was not paying attention. But right. Gino already way farther ahead on this fight, currently already at a quarter health for his Tree Sentinel. Gets another stagger, which is really, really nice. This is going to be another race that Chris is going to lose here.
Yeah, unless Gino dies here, which is probably unlikely, Chris will be pivoting off of this immediately, I'm assuming. I mean, I guess there's a chance that he kills it for the halberd check, but honestly, I doubt it. It is just a basic halberd, which obviously he doesn't know, so he will pivot off of it. At least these two squares are not necessarily in the same line, so the snowball is a little bit under control. It's not like they immediately get a bingo threat off of this at the same time. But yeah, now it looks like Bree is heading towards Omen Killer. Leonia is it's hard to say sometimes with Leonia. Things look pretty similar.
Yeah.
But I think that's where Adif is heading to. So another race coming up here shortly. They do have different classes. I thought that this class also started with a Claymore, which is a little bit harder to wield. I think it needs like 13 dex and 16 strength, so they're probably going to be stuck. Actually, very stacked starting class if this is the one with the Claymore, Square Off, like Sword, and Scholar's Armament. Kind of crazy.
And this is something that I'm wondering, by the way, is that there is Bloodhound Claws on Bree, and there is the normal straight sword on Adif. What's going to be better, squaring off or trying to bleed? The bleed might honestly outspeed the square off. However, that means she also has to dodge more, as she can't just like micro stagger the Omen Killer with the nice Ash of War that is square off.
I do like this confidence from Adif a lot. Just basically going straight there, knows that they need to stop the snowball from happening. And even if this doesn't end up working out, I think this is the correct play in a situation like this where you've lost your first two squares. You go all in on this Omen Killer. If it ends up working out, great. If not, there's probably some other lands you can go for. Looks like Chris is immediately heading towards in Ionia. I don't know if he's going to try to do a super early game Radahn, which I do really like on this board. We've talked about this.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and swap over real quick to the 4-player screen here as we do have an Omen Killer race. Adif here making sure, by the way, that those dogs are not going to bother him while he fights this Omen Killer. I don't believe Bree made sure of that, but she is getting a nice backstab here, already going to be able to build some bleed up on this Omen Killer. As Adif is not really using square off as much as I was hoping he would, and sadly getting tagged by some of these attacks, but should be able to get a backstab off here very soon.
Yeah, I think he went for that backstab loop attempt, but ended up getting that fake backstab where you actually get into the animation without the backstab going through. Gets it right here, and the HP bar is actually looking pretty equal between the two. Bree a little bit on fire, and still with the potential threat of the dogs. They're both getting the same attack.
Okay, yeah, looks like... Oh, Adif here, nice square off.
Huge, pivoting to the square off strategy, and it's working a lot better from actually in the lead.
There we go. Yep. Oh, does miss it sadly though. That was a weird attack from Omen Killer. Oh, not to. Oh no, rolling into the fire attack here for Adif's. Got to be careful. Has no stamina.
Wow.
Okay, and there it is. Millicent now for Gino. Gino really keeping up the momentum here for Team BrinoMachino, grabbing his third square already on the board. I'm going to go ahead and move over real quick to the team's overlay here. As we can see, that is 3 squares now, 3-0. And Adif sadly getting tagged by some of the swipe attacks, but Bree also dying.
Bree dies as well.
One hit away.
She got the bleed off. It looked like it was one, but they're both dying. Okay, Omen Killer really, I mean, I've seen a lot of people practice the square, and yes, there's this tech you can do, like sure you can backstab him, but he can just like turn around suddenly and like one-shot you with one of his Omen Cleavers or just the fire attack. He definitely can be quite beefy.
However, here is Bree now
Advantage
already
block.
having the Grace for Omen Killer. Is going to be in the back in the fight very, very soon here. Well, Adef
Oh,
did not
right.
grab the Grace and now has to travel all the way back before he can actually attempt this fight again.
Yeah, I mean, that's always a tricky situation because normally if you think you are racing someone directly on the square and you die, you would expect them to mark the square by now. So maybe at this point he thinks, okay, well, I guess Bree is going for something else, not knowing that she also died and potentially wasting his time again now with this long ride back.
Yeah, this is definitely looking a little tough here. Looks like Gino is getting ready just to prep some of his weapons here with some smithing stones, getting the 3s and 2s and Shifra. While Chris here is currently in the tunnel, I believe, for the Magma Worm, going for what seems to be a column 3 block with the Rotten Crystal Sword.
That does seem good. Now, the threat of Road 2, especially if Bree is able to get the square this time around, is definitely very, very scary. I do honestly expect one of them to potentially go for the Red Wolf towards Renala then. I've definitely seen Chris do that Renala square quite a bit. So him potentially going for that Red Wolf just to block that threat soon after this Magma Worm might be what he's looking for.
Bree's got to be a little careful here. There is fire on the ground. There is mages on the bridge shooting their shot. And she just needs one more R2 here. Has got to be careful not to greed, though. One more R1 should do it. And there it is. That is Omen Killer now for BrinoMachino. 4 squares to 0 currently. That row 3 looking very devastating, just like as I mentioned.
Yeah, and I think at this point, it's honestly questionable. I mean, yeah, at this point, Chris won't be pivoting off Magma Worm. He's literally already fighting it, not dealing amazing damage, to be fair. But, like, yeah, that threat becomes really large. And I think the fastest block is probably the Renala Red Wolf, just ignoring the synergy that it technically has with the Altus Plateau Hero's Grave. Ancestor Spirit obviously taking quite a bit with with those torches that you have to light, so I think that's the best one. It looks like either Adef is going to be going for that Ancestor Spirit or just picking up the smithing stones here. This is the most popular spot for smithing 2s and 3s. Probably what he's going for first.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and swap over to the other team perspective here real quick. Watch your eyes, chat. Watch your eyes. We're swapping. There we go. Getting a Chris here on the board real quick while he is doing the Rotten Crystal Sword tech. That's now tech. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said tech. Rotten Crystal Sword attack on the Magma Worms. Nice tech. Nice tech. Nice tech, Chris.
A little bit of tech, though. The rod is on, and Magma Worm is slowly being cooked. I think you should be able to get him soon with the next stagger. Straight sword, not the most amazing weapon to stagger a boss with, but definitely fine. Now, Gino is heading towards the Cellular Crystal Tunnel. I haven't actually seen the exact reason for that.
Falling Star Beast in column 3 here, row 1.
In column 3. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think they're trying to promote here the double bingo as much as they can. But yeah, the Magma Worm pickup here from Chris is going to be huge. Nice little block. Something Storm 5 pickups here from Gino. Maybe he's still going to go for the fight just because it's a free square. I'm not too sure. Looks like it. Has got to be careful, though. These pest threats have been putting in a lot of work today already on some of the other matches.
Yeah, row 3 is the last big threat. I feel like immediate threats that you want to do something about. Potentially with the Red Wolf boss kill. It looks like Chris might be checking up the Great Sword chest here. Let's see what sort of weapon he can get for himself. The Ordovis's Great Sword. Not necessarily awful, not necessarily the best.
It's not bad. It's really not that bad.
Yeah.
If you are able to fully charge that Ash of War on the Ordovis's Greatsword, it is 62 poise, which
he
is...
did get an Uchigatana from the Magma Worm kill, which is definitely a pretty nice weapon.
That's probably better. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's still not the worst sword here. Nice little ladder skip from Gino now. Going straight up that ladder, going to be grabbing the Sombra 4 potentially as well for any future weapons that he wants. Kicks that ladder.
Yeah, interesting. Definitely some choices there for Chris. Also not forgetting that he still has that Claymore as well. But I think the Uchigatana is probably his best bet to get something online fairly quickly. I don't know if he's put any levels into his Rotten Sword, or if that's at +0. If he hasn't used any of his smithing stones yet, that might be the best bet. Once again, I would really like to see one of the... I think first you want to get rid of that row 3 threat in some way, and then Chris is in Altus right now. I'm not sure what the exact plan is, and then I think I would love to see Team Positive Vibes approach, that Radahn synergy, where you can maybe do Radahn, you get a square for that, you do it hitless, maybe you get the rune, maybe you can work towards Fingerslayer Blade, Loretta is there, the glove, what is there? Literally like 6 squares.
Looks like that's what Bree is actually working on, making her way towards the Radahn portal, most likely, grabbing those smithing fours as well to make sure that she has a +12 Bloodhound's Fang, or Bloodhound's Claws, I should say. And maybe Chris here working towards Sacred Flasks, but then also going to be going for what might be the Hero's Grave into Red Wolf combo to block that row 3, while Adef is working on the Ancestor Spirits.
Ancestor Spirit, yeah.
They really want to stop that row 3 as much as they can.
I guess the basic version of the Ancestor Spirit at least doesn't heal, so it's not the worst fight, even with low damage. You can definitely get through it. It's not a fun fight, but definitely nothing too bad. Going towards the Helix Tree now to get some extra levels going. Definitely one of the most common destinations to set up.
Yeah. Getting some money online, I think, is going to be a really good idea for ADEF. Going to get that weapon online and also some levels. I think is going to be very, very helpful for Team Positive Vibes to slowly come back from this square deficit. There is the Falling Star Beast now on the board for BrinoMachino, 5-1 currently in squares.
Yeah, and Bree definitely has that huge advantage now on the festival. It's already started by grabbing an early Altus Grace, and now she's actually going to probably fight Radahn. Health bar looking solid. The claws are somewhat online, and I mean, I guess you can summon NPCs, which can unironically... I mean, some people prefer not even having the NPCs around, but sometimes it can be nice, depending on your weapon, just to have them like kind of distract Radahn as you get some free hits off. You might want to be a little bit more careful with these claws online. There's also some tech that people have been doing in the past to assure that Radahn doesn't really face transition. I'm interested to see what she's going to choose to do, especially because there is that Remembrance hitless square technically available.
And Adef dying to a Royal Revenant that did not like that he found his secret stash. Going to die to some poison here. Chris here making his way up the ladder. I do believe he's going for that Hero's Grave Red Wolf combo, which I believe which is going to be really, really nice to block that row 3. And Bree already going into the Radahn fight 14 minutes in. Let's go ahead and bring them up on the screen here. Chat, get ready. We're swapping over.
Swapping over, and Adef, despite the death, not the worst spot to die, and he already got what he came for in the Helix Tree. I will think the most important screen to look at right now is probably Breeze, as she's about to head into the Radahn fight with the potential of going for a hitless kill here. If she doesn't get it, it's not the worst. Radahn synergy is still great. Just killing him in general without summons will yield a square. And then also, wow, that frost proc. And was it, I don't know if it was both at the same time, but he just like 2,000.
It looked like a lot. That was a lot of damage, I agree. Oh, there it is, the bleed proc now. That was just a lot of damage overall from Bree here. This will probably be Radahn without summons and hitless at the same time, just from the looks of it. Has to make sure.
Oh, that's like the most dangerous attack, but she dodges it. This is definitely the best potential now to get that done, just like you said.
Yep. Getting a lot of damage off. Has to be careful not to get tagged here by the spin attack. Very nice fight here from Bree so far. Flawless. As Beyonce says.
Common quote. Chris definitely with the big advantage here. And I'm actually kind of surprised. I mean, it looks like Gino is heading there now. So there is still a potential. This Hero's Grave can be quite dangerous with the chariot and stuff. But if Chris gets that block plus the double square, that's definitely their first great way to come back into this match. That being said, Bree still hasn't been hit yet. It's now in phase 2, which can arguably be more scary. I think she's like 1 bleed proc away, though.
Yeah, it looks like
actually making this work.
Gino's now making his way over to the Red Wolf Grace as well, but this might be a nice little double snipe here from Chris then, grabbing that Hero's Grave and Red Wolf boss from Gino.
And I'm pretty sure Bree just staggered Radahn with the claws. He has like 200 stance. Doesn't matter. Dodges the guillotine attack, which can be quite hard to react to. 1 HP left. Needs 1 more hit to get the double square on the hitless plus Radahn combo. Radahn going for the rocks. Hopefully.
Oh, no!
And she gets hit and dies at the same time. That's actually the worst possible outcome. Wow. So, she is so insanely unlucky. I feel horrible for Bree right now. Playing so well, but missing out on that Omen Killer kill earlier. And Chris dying to the chariot, though, at the same time. Maybe Gino has a chance to snipe that now. What the hell is going on?
Dude, I'm actually really surprised that she would go on the horseback for the meteor attack. It's really easy just to dodge on foot, to be honest. I know some people will get on the horseback and try to like outspeed the meteors, I guess, but I hate doing that. I hate doing
I
that.
like rolling them and then jumping the wave as well, personally, but unfortunately gets hit there and is uncontested, is the good part. And Chris still in the lead on this hero's grave, but this is pretty infamous for being pretty bad. I don't know if Chris is going to go for the riding the chariot strat, which I believe is technically slightly faster. There's also some tech to backstep hit into the lava, which is more consistent, but slightly slower. I'm interested to see what he's going to do.
No freeze grease here on the Radahn fight, though, this time around for Bree. This is definitely be a bit of a slower fight now, which also means that she's going to have to make sure that she doesn't get hit even longer than before, which is definitely a huge shame. But it already gets 2 bleed procs here. This fight already going faster. Not faster. This fight already going fast as per usual, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't actually know what level her claws are. They might actually be like +0 or something because she's only doing like 20 damage. But the DPS and just them being like a bleed proc machine or an earlier frost proc machine might already be enough for her to be confident in that fight. I mean, she is playing well and definitely getting there. Radahn's probably going to go into phase 2. Wait, Chris dying to fall damage at the end of that hero's grave, which is very sad because Gino is in the grave now and he might actually snipe this entire row.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on. Yeah, that is something.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Now Gino is ahead, going for the backstep hit tech as well. Chris was doing that as well, not going for the chariot ride. Both of the HP bars looking pretty much equal. Oh no, Bree just got hit. I wasn't sure if she got hit previously, so the hitless remembrance is definitely off the table. Can still go for the Radahn square in general. At this point, that's definitely what you want to do. He also gives so many runes. Kind of shocked how easy it seems to stagger this guy. Just with R1s of the claw, because he does have that 200 stance, but I guess you just keep up the pressure.
And Adif here an Ancestor Spirit too, which is really nice. So that'll leads to the block that they need for row 3.
Yeah. Hopefully you can make that happen. Yeah, and Gino's entering the fight first now against Red Wolf.
That is crazy. I believe Chris just wasn't thinking about the drop down. You have to land on that ledge first.
But Bree is getting hit, I think, attacked by the spin attack again there towards the very end, and that's just gotta be so frustrating. Especially with that first attempt going so insanely well, like literally not getting hit the entire time, getting those frost procs, and is now set back once again.
Adif here getting a nice stagger on the Ancestor Spirit. Should be getting the square very soon. Has nice glowing star fists in his hand. Should be doing a lot of decent damage here at the very least. Going for some R1s. Yeah, there's some nice damage coming from Adif.
Wow.
Red Wolf fight here from Gino, though. Nice repose from Gino. That is going to be the nice double up of Hero's Grave, Red Wolf. There it is, 7-1 right now for BrinoMachino. What a time sink. What a time sink for Chris.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. I mean, at this point, do you even finish the square? I don't think so. There's not really too much to get from it. It's really important that Adif is getting this kill, and he's very close to doing so. Blocking this will still be very, very helpful to them. And it looks like Adif is able to make that work, blocking row 3, and at least making it so that they can't get that last square and then suddenly be in a 10-point lead.
Yep, so Adif getting that really, really important block. Is huge, 7-2 right now, still for BrinoMachino. I believe, honestly, Chris should have finished that boss because there is kill 7 bosses in Altus and Mount Gelmir. So getting that Red Wolf off the board would have been a good idea, but he may have graced out instead.
Looks like Gina's potentially working on tree spirits now in the Fringe Folk Hero Grave. That's pretty much the only thing you want to do there, unless there's also there's staves on the board, no seals. So that's probably the main reason he would be down here. Probably with this many points on the board, I think it just becomes the best strategy to just get every single early game square you can and try to just like run away with it. Additionally, this is still in column 1, which can be another bingo threat.
Yeah, Bree here going for the Lake of Rot Grease real quick and then going back to Radahn now. This is a really, really big time sink for Bree, and hopefully this pays off for her going for that Rot Grease.
Yeah, it definitely does do quite a bit of work. I believe the rod kind of just stays on even when Radahn leaves. Actually, I'm not sure. I remember trying to test it in the past, and I think it does, even though he normally gets rid of status. But it definitely will put in a lot of extra work, no matter what, even if it just works in phase 1.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. If I were on team positive vibes here, I think maybe Knights Cav would be the next best call. Remembrance Boss hitless is still open. Otherwise, Radahn is too big of a deal. Like, it really, really is. Radahn is a crucial deal here.
And it looks like Chris might be going into that direction. He just warped to Khaled. I was going to say, I don't know how their read on the situation is. Bree hasn't marked something in quite a bit. Do they expect her to go for some of these longer squares, like the boss collection squares, like many bosses at the same time? Or do they actually think she is working on Radahn and it's not going her way? That's going to be interesting to see. I do think if Chris makes it there, maybe there's a world where he can get it away, which would be probably their way to get back into the game, right? Like if he is somehow able to be ahead on that huge Radahn synergy, where you can somehow squeeze 6 squares out of, with Adif blocking out that row 3 and now working on your unique staves, potentially setting up a column 5 threat, which that's probably what they're doing with with Chris heading towards Radahn now. Maybe they're trying to go for Radahn into Radahn's Great Rune, Adif working on staves, Leonine Misbegotten is Quake. Maybe that's what they're targeting. Yeah,
no, I definitely agree with that, especially with Adif really focusing on the staves. I agree. Column 5 would be fantastic for them. Build some pressure. Have BrinoMachino kind of come to you if possible. Create some pressure enough to where they have to respond, which seemed to work last week a little bit in their the Sunday match, where I forgot, was it BrinoMachino versus Kateri, I believe, where Kateri then started to create some pressure where they both Bree and Gino double blocked just to make sure that they could cover their grounds.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Getting someone into a situation like that can definitely be a good way to throw people off their game and make them make less efficient plays. And I feel like that would be specifically nice here because Gino's just kind of been focused on his own thing, just blasting from one goal to another. Make him actually change what he's doing would be quite good. It's going to depend on if Bree can get Radahn down now with the Rod Grease. If she's able to do so, because she definitely still has the advantage being on the lift, then that entire idea is off the table. But if Chris can somehow snipe that double square, Adif definitely has the lead there, then I would definitely expect some sort of Leonine Misbegotten race.
I mean, we do definitely at the very least have a Radahn race here as Chris is getting ready to almost enter the fight as well. Bree just entering now with Rot Grease and Bloodhound's Claws +0, I'm pretty sure. So this might be actually the edge that Chris needs to take over. But it looks like he's actually pivoting out. He's going to be going for possibly the teleporter into EG here to get this Rotten Crystal Sword to +5 instead first.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, he picked up more stuff in the Helix tree as well. I don't know if he's ever instead going for the Odovices, even though it needs more stats. But he might just lock in the Rotten Crystal Sword. But we'll see how Bree does. The Rod is already on Radahn. He's already ticking down. Hasn't been hit yet. So far, phase 2 has been the difficult part.
Yep, nice little bleed proc coming out again for Bree on the Radahn fight. Hopefully, Rot Grease pulls its weight here to where she doesn't get tagged again. This would give, Chris and positive vibes as a... Oh, and she... Okay, I'm not going to say anything. Well, let's switch over to the other team, chat. Let's just move over the other overlay real quick. See what Adif and Chris are up to. They're riding. Peepo Torrent, chat. Peepo Torrent.
I mean, at the end of the day, Bree is alive, right? She can still get that square of just killing Radahn without summoning NPCs. Adif might be able to... Chris might be able to get a hitless Remembrance later. Obviously, she was going for that combo, but...
Oh. Feels like, man.
Radahn might still be going down. And that's really what they're... well, I guess they're not looking to at it as much as positive vibes. Like, for them, column 5 is much more important. But just getting that square and working on the Radahn synergies is going to be important either way.
Yeah, I agree. So they're giving up the hitless. That might be better for the long run, though. Bree getting tagged yet again, though, has got to be careful. Here it is, Meteor attack coming out from Radahn. Getting back on that horseback, making sure that she doesn't get tagged by Meteors this time. Rot effect has worn off on Radahn here. She needs a bleed proc now. However, he's going for another nice little stall move here. It is Spin Central. Nice dodge.
Phase 2 can be rough. That's very nice.
Very, very nice dodge here from Bree. There it is. Bleed proc on Radahn. Gets Radahn without summons. Sadly now, Chris might see that on the board. However, he also sees probably that wasn't hitless. I could go for hitless.
Yep. And that's probably the fastest remembrance to do at this point, no matter what, especially because he might still want to gain access to Nocron at one point, because there is so much stuff you can do. They like the Finger Slayer Blade, like the Grave and Glove words. I think there was more that I mean, I guess Loretta kind of plays into the Finger Slayer Blade. Kind of need her to be able to get that.
Gino here on his third Tree Spirit, by the way, currently in the Altus Plateau. Should get a stagger here soon. And when he does, this should be the death of the third Tree Spirit, activating column 1 and the diagonal. There is 6 staves here from Adef.
Nice.
And Chris going to go into the Radahn fight. This is interesting. I don't feel like the board itself is saying, hey, BrinoMachino is really, really far ahead. Understandable. However, you have to also understand that Gino and Bree have barely upgraded anything, and I feel like at some point that might bite them in the butt, where they haven't really been focusing on their stat line and their weapon upgrades as much. Chris now with a +5 Somber Crystal Sword might be able to deal with bosses a little bit quicker, and that might be the edge that they need to kind of slowly bring it back.
Also, Adef picking up Starfist at some point, which is something I'm only noticing now. I don't think that's something they could have started with, otherwise you would have seen that much more. Not sure what exact check it was that allowed him to get that, but that can definitely be a very clutch weapon as we've previously seen. Another reason that I like positive vibes going for this boss now. First of all, Chris can comfortably summon now because that square is off the table, allowing him to kill Radahn a little bit quicker, making it easier to potentially get that hitless square. And then the only remaining pure bingo threat that the blue team has is also something that works pretty well with this. They do need to get those glove words eventually, and they do need to kill Radahn for that. Again, kind of sad that Chris didn't stick with that Red Wolf. That could have helped them towards that kill 7 Altus bosses. I do believe Gino probably has a good advantage there now because he already killed that Mount Gelmir Tree Spirit and the other... Wait, no, the other Altus one is not a boss, so I guess not too much progress there. But nice.
Yep, there it is. Hitless for Radahn here now for Chris. So this is going to be 9-4 here for BrinoMachino currently on the board. I'm going to move over to red team's overlay here. Give me just a moment, chat. And boop, there we go. Bree currently doing the ladder skip here for the tower. Going to be going for the restoration of the Radahn Great Rune. Activating row 5 here for them, which is Elemer and Finger Slayer Blade. And I believe, honestly, if Gino wants to go for Elemer right now, they would have a really, really nice bingo thread. But do they even have to? Probably not. It's 9-4. They need 4 more squares. They could pick whatever they want at this point. They don't have to really force any bingo squares onto the other team.
Yeah, that being said, I feel like it's not even the slowest square in general. Like, if you're already in Altus, you can reach it decently quick. And, I mean, he has some amount of HP. There's definitely some other stuff left that is probably faster. I mean, Leonine is also a lot of running. It would also play into the Altus boss square because Shaded Castle is right there. So it's interesting to see what he's going to do. I like that Elemer square just in general, not even just for the row. Because obviously Finger Slayer Blade, he's quite far away from, he hasn't actually done Radahn.
Yeah, this is, I believe Adef is working on Knight's Calves, is that right?
Yeah, I think so. He's in Weeping now. Actually, it looks like Gino might be riding towards Land CX, given this position. Which is on the board, obviously.
Yep. Yep, kind of activating that diagonal from the looks of it. So with Bree going for Restore Radahn's Great Rune, she might go for Leonine Misbegotten afterwards.
Yeah, and then that other glove word. Where's the other glove word again? That's an Altus in the Catacomb, right? The one that's not behind Radahn.
Correct. Yep.
Right.
And yeah, it looks like this might be a Lansax fight coming out here from Gino.
Interesting. I haven't actually kept track of his weapon upgrade level too much. Langsix she's been notorious in this season
Yep.
for ruining a lot of people's days. Square off probably decent enough in here, but let's see the damage output. Oh, okay, I mean, that seems pretty decent.
She is weak to thrust, which is the good thing here for the square off weapon.
Yeah.
If you go for any like slashes, it's gonna deal like half that damage. So right now, Gino's priority is definitely going for just square off purely on this Lance X, making sure he's got enough blue flasks as well to really utilize that as much as he can.
He gets a headshot with the square off. That might be okay. I was gonna say maybe we will see the absolute super rare Lanciac stagger with the direct headshot square off hit, but at this point, it's probably already gone. Something that you barely ever see.
Ooh, does get tagged with that fire attack, though. Yeah, sometimes I can reach the back of the tail, too, depending on where you're standing. Nice little headshot,
I guess this is
though.
a fairly fast square to go for. I feel like they wouldn't be in a position necessarily to have to go for this square, but I guess all things considered, it's fast if you do get it.
Yes. Definitely agree, definitely agree.
And I mean, he is making good work here. I mean, Lanciac's already past 50% HP, getting another headshot with square off. Looking pretty good on that end. At the same time, Adef is still working his way towards more Knight's Calories, I believe. And Chris is heading towards Godric, which he doesn't have any incantations, so I'm not exactly sure what this is working towards.
Possibly just set up, I guess.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess anyways. But yeah, this is definitely a very quick Lance X fight here from Gino.
Yeah, looking good. I guess Moog Sewer is like the only thing that would require him to have capital access. But I feel like you wouldn't want to kill Godric right now unless you're doing incantation only. He does have a seal equip. Maybe he picked up an incantation that I didn't see. Because I feel like that would be the incantation you want to do. The remembrance you want to do incantation only because he's so squishy in comparison. Yeah, with that seal equipped, I'm assuming he picked up an incantation at some point that I didn't pay attention to that he's going to try to use here. Leveling up some Mind, which once again kind of reaffirms it. Oh, he has Stone of Garank. I talked about that earlier. And Catch Flame, actually. Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good setup to actually... Oh, no, it's O Flame. But Stone of Garank is pretty good. I talked about that earlier. That's good stance damage, good damage in general. You can just kind of spam it. Probably going to be pretty doable.
Yeah. Yeah, currently 11-4 for BrinoMachino here at 34 minutes. They only need 2 more squares. They can literally just pick whatever they like. It doesn't have to be Leonin Misbegotten. It doesn't have to be Graven Ghost Glove or Bell Bearings. And yeah, it looks like that Gino's just going straight for the Altus bosses here.
One of them happens to be a Knight's Cavalry, and given his mark on the board, he actually has one of them already. Now, I think this might be Adef's last. I don't think he's marked any count of them. He definitely did the Weeping one. He did this one. Maybe he still has one to do, which could get a little bit scary if this is Gino's second. Maybe there's some sort of snipe potential. Oh, wow. Okay, O-Flame is actually still putting in some work. That's what he chooses to do. I haven't actually seen that incantation too much. It seems like kind of like a larger version of Catch Flame, which is obviously exceptional.
Oh, there we go. Yep, rock here, chat. Throwing some rocks at Godric's head. Yeah, Old Flame is actually really not that bad. It just takes a little bit longer. It does a little bit more damage, takes a little bit longer. You can't really, like, speed cast it as much as Catch Flame.
And there's the stagger, yeah, the Rog. Yeah, Rog definitely putting in some work. I've done that square before with this Rog, and it actually isn't too bad.
Yeah, very, very nice damage for sure here. Especially for probably how low the incantation level is.
Seal is as well, yeah.
Or faith level is for Chris.
That too, yeah, 2 more mana flasks. He definitely has this in the bag as long as he doesn't randomly die here. Now, Bree pivoted to Leonin Misbegotten, which is nice. Once again, threatening that diagonal even further. There's not really much need for it, though, to be fair. They are on 12 points. So if they get this Leonine square, they are exactly 1 away from winning. And Gino's putting a lot of work on those Altus bosses. So probably not even going to attempt that diagonal, just winning by just squares. Their plan.
Yeah, which is something I would definitely prioritize. Just like, we just have to go for 2 squares. let's just go for whatever is the fastest. We don't necessarily have to push any lines anymore. And there it is. Leonidas Begotten now marked on the board for BrinoMachino. 12-5 now. Chris marking Incans only Godric. Going back to Mount Gelmir now. Maybe going for Elimer at this point. Seems like it. He's jumping down.
Yeah, at this point it's looking pretty dire, mainly because Gino has this big advantage on the Altus bosses. He decides to just go for Elimer though, which could be a beginning of a super rare snowball incident. That's like literally the only way they don't win, essentially, going for this, because maybe somehow Chris ends up getting Elimer first, and then Gino decides to not finish up the Altus bosses. Essentially, it's like the only way they don't. But in Gino's mind, it makes sense because he's just like, okay, I'm grabbing the quickest square I can because we need one square to win.
Yeah.
Chris picking the right square, there's like the only way they can somehow make a miracle comeback here.
Looks like that Chris is lining himself up, though, to be sniped again, though, because Gino is a little bit ahead on Elimer right now.
Yeah, definitely so. But then again, I think this is still the best thing he could have done, which he doesn't know. It just happens that Gino goes for the square. If he somehow dies and Chris gets this, maybe the miracle comeback is possible. Adolf is about to complete the Knight's Cavalry square. This is his last one. But then again, if Gino ends up killing Elimer here and his health was looking pretty solid, then they will be at 13 points.
Yeah, that whole early game really screwed over Team Positive Vibes.
Yeah, extremely snowbally board because of those two squares. I'm honestly a little bit surprised still that Chris ended up going for the Tree Sentinel contest after knowing he's going to be behind. I don't know how much of a difference it would have made if he just said, okay, I'm going Radahn. Like, that's after this didn't work out. That's my play. And honestly, it would have probably paid off because Bree obviously had some issues there in the fight. Maybe that would have been a better way back into the match. But yeah, it just happens that these two squares were there and they went well for Gino.
This should be, I believe, Adolf's second Knight's Cav. If not third, this is that third Knight's Cav for Adolf. Nice little square pickup here for Team Positive Vibes. 12-6 now. And Gino already putting in a bunch of work on this Elimer.
Yeah, baiting out those shield attacks, followed up by a square off, getting big poise damage in. Another shield attack coming out. Usually the only scary part is if the shield is followed up by the explosion, but I don't think that's possible like that. I think that can only happen if Elimer's actually looking at you first. Then it might be followed up by an explosion, but with that turnaround, you should be safe.
And this will be a good old GG's here for BrinoMachino as that last square off is going to connect with Elimer. And there it is, BrinoMachino 13-6, ending the day 3. GG's!
Very quick match. Definitely making use of those early game wins. Gino, from that point on, just getting as many squares as he could. And then winning out. Chris actually killing Elimer just there, so a little bit behind. If there was any sort of incident, then maybe there would have been a world. But yeah, definitely making great use of the snowball and BrinoMachino. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Now also 3-0, which does set us up for tomorrow to be a pretty exciting match when they face off against Monkey Ballers as well. That both undefeated teams, one of them will keep their streak and one of them won't.
Yeah, tomorrow is
guaranteed tomorrow.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm very excited for that. 3-0 versus 3-0 tomorrow. That's going to be very, very, very interesting. It looks like the players are ready to go into the post-interview section of the match. So give me just a second here. And boom, there it is. Lim and I are back on screen. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. One hell of a day. 39 minutes, dude. Actually absurd. All right, let me go ahead and move them in here. Welcome in, Team Positive Vibes. Welcome in, Bree. Gino didn't say yes to being ready.
He's good. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's always fine for everybody, Domo.
Well, I don't want to just like sometimes after the match you still want to talk to your partner real quick, and I just want to pull you out while you're doing that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So,
yeah.
That's why I'm just checking. I'm checking with you guys.
No, that's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. But anyways, GG's to Team BrinoMachino, guys.
GG's, guys.
Very, very insane momentum here on this board. We were talking about when the board was first shown, row 3 was dangerous from the very beginning. That was a very early game, pressure heavy kind of row. However, there were also some interesting choices. I'll kind of like call off a couple here. First, Chris losing Grafted Scion to Gino by, I would say, about a riposte or two, and then committing to the fight.
Yeah, he would. Sorry.
And then going into Tree Sentinel right afterwards.
Because there's some good. I'll explain my reasoning for that.
Yeah.
Well, so he didn't buff for his weapon in phase 2, so I just didn't get free opener at all, like free damage. That's why I lost that time.
Yeah.
But I figured, I might as well just finish the kill because he can drop a decent weapon, which I did get. Like it was Rotten Crystal Sword, right?
Yeah.
And then I figured I'd go for Tree Sentinel as well, hoping that Gino would think that, or like their team would think that we were going for Tree Sentinel first and not Scion, and then hope they would just skip Tree Sentinel, and that way I could get it.
That does
Kind
make
of
sense.
had to gamble there, but yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. And I think also a little bit of a difference on the Grafted Scion fight was actually the Scholar Armament casting, because Gino did not do that. I think they gave him just a little bit more time. Even if it just takes 2 seconds, I think those 2 seconds actually made a difference for sure on that fight as well.
Well, I mean, he just didn't do the phase transition.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I get
that's
that.
the difference.
I get that. Yeah. The rest of the game though, for choices for BrinoMachino, once you guys got those first 3 squares, what was the strategy? Was it trying to bulldoze row 3, or what exactly were you guys kind of aiming for, I guess?
Yeah, we saw the potential with row 3, and I was obviously struggling a little bit with my idea with Radahn hit list because I missed the final hit on that initial fight. And then so that felt like that was a lot of really good pressure with that play, and then it gave you access to Finger Slayer Blade and Underground for contingency plans. And then when I saw the Red Wolf Ultis and then Ultis bosses in the same row, I was like, hey Gino, did you think that you'd be able to do that? So he went and scooped up those 2. Obviously you saw me pivot towards Ancestor Spirit, but at that point it looks like maybe Chris and Adef had been thinking about column 5 pressure for a bingo and had that set up nicely. But yeah, I felt like there was some really neat synergy, lots of obviously Altus presence, and Gino really capitalized on that. I felt like there was like some really obvious like Altus and then Radahn into Underground access for this board specifically. So
Yeah.
I think we capitalized on those opportunities.
Yeah, we tried to do similar stuff.
Mhm.
I had a
We
bit of a
attempted row
skill
3.
issue with the Altis grave. I may or may not have died twice getting to the Red Wolf.
Oh, dang, okay.
But yeah.
Bree, did you die to Omen Killer once?
Yeah.
I did with
Okay.
one hit left on him.
Yeah, I died also with like maybe 4 or 5 hits left, but I didn't get the grace in hopes that would
Oh.
be the time save over you.
Oh,
Yeah, I was like, if I skip the grace, this is the 5-head play.
Sure.
But it wound up fucking me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is
it's so tough sometimes, right? It's like, do you go for the safer,
Yeah.
grab the grace and not end up losing like tons of time, or
Sure.
you just go
Yeah.
for it, which is clearly
Well-
faster, but
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
Ada
one
said
is
that-
well.
If it
guys
helps
did good.
with my Radahn play, I was very confident that I was going to be able to do it, and I should have done it. It was stupidly 1 attack left, but I
What
didn't get
weapon
the
were you
grace.
running?
I did the
like,
claws
otherwise?
with Freeze Grease,
Interesting. Okay.
and he should have been dead, and I should have just greeted, but I didn't, and then I got cheesed, and then I didn't get the grace.
you say you should have greeted.
I should have greeted.
Oh,
Oh yeah, he was like 1 HP, just like
It was
Omen
so
Killer.
bad, Gino.
Yeah.
Just wait till you watch it. It
yeah,
was
okay.
so
I never,
sad.
never say that, but
I know. I know. But today
But this is
I guess in that
speed.
context, I didn't
True,
really
that's
care. So if it makes you feel better, Adef, I didn't get the red main grace because I was like very confident, and so I had to run all the way back.
Yeah.
Okay,
Playing
then you
against
you would have
America.
you would have beat me to it anyway then.
Mm.
You
did.
America for Radahn, no?
Well, yeah, but she went back. She went to Lake of Rot to get the Rot Grease to try and help out with the hit list
Oh,
instead.
okay,
But then she had to go all the way
see.
back because she didn't get the Grace
Yeah.
in Redmane
Mm-hmm.
Castle. But yeah, no, I definitely agree that Team Positive Vibes switching from the row 3 into a column 5 kind of move, I thought was definitely a great idea. That definitely would have created a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Sadly, Chris entered the fight when Bree like pretty much just finished it. So that definitely kind of backfired a little bit. But if that would have turned the other way, I think this match would have gone very different as well, because ADF already had Ancestor Spirit and was working towards staves. So that kind of would have bulldozed column 5 even faster, to where you really had to respond to that Leonin Misbegotten square. But yeah, overall, well played from both teams, and especially Gino in this case, taking care of Lanciacs early on, creating just a bunch of pressures and in different ways, diagonals, columns, rows, just making sure that there's a lot of things to respond to besides just one thing.
It sounds like his Lanciacs was pretty nasty today. She
just flew around so much. Average Lanciacs fight basically.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
more
did
terrain
really
fight
well.
than it is than actual boss fight, pretty much. But yeah, I think from you, Lim, by the way, did you want to? I don't know if you had any questions.
The only thing I was interested in, and it makes so much more sense because it's a different perspective than when you watch knowing everything, right? In my mind, I was like, okay, so if Chris loses Grafted Scion, why would he ever go for Tree Sentinel? He knows that he is behind, but it makes sense for him to predict that maybe at that point Gino thinks, oh, okay, he didn't go for Grafted, so maybe he goes for Tree Sentinel, so he skips Tree Sentinel instead, and suddenly it makes more sense. So it's interesting to see that perspective. Yeah, but we talked about pretty much the same things in the match. There were these two angles, the early game type rush squares and the 6 squares that kind of lead towards the underground with Fingerslayer, Blade, Loretta, Radahn, no summons and stuff. So makes sense to me. It was a good match.
Yeah. A lot of
Did you
huge
guys see me walk around looking for the meteorite staff for 3 minutes?
No.
That was fun. Just ambling around in the Lake of Rod, just where the fuck, or not Lake of Rod, you know what I mean? I was like, where the fuck is this thing?
Yeah, that's you can get lost there pretty easily sometimes because the ruins all look the same. But yeah, I mean, great matches from both though. I do appreciate both of you playing, both teams playing. Best of luck to you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow I think is going to be a very interesting day between BrinoMachino and Monkey Balls because they're both 3-0 now. So best of luck to you guys on that match.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck, yeah.
I think that'll be a very, very interesting match to watch. And obviously looking forward to you guys tomorrow as well. Team Positive Vibes for seeing you guys get a dub under your pocket as well. Or under your belt, not your pocket. But thanks so much again for playing, guys. I really do appreciate it. And best of luck tomorrow, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Us.
Yeah. GG's.
Thank you.
GG's. Thanks.
GG's. Have a nice day, guys.
GG's.
Bye.